Okay, so taking your own measurements is pretty simple. So the first step is your circumference. As you can see, I am a 23.5. And you are measuring directly around your hairline. The next one is your front to nape. Take the 0. You want to feel where your hair stops in the back at your nape area. Look in the mirror and see where your hairline starts. And as you can see, I am a 16. The next measurement I am going to take is my temple to temple. This is your temple area. This is a very important measurement. Start with your 0 here, directly across the back of your head. And as you can see, I am a 19.5. Now with this measurement, if you do not have hair in this area, like for example, let's say if your hair starts back here, you want to make sure that you're bringing a tape measure to your temple area to measure. And take it directly straight across. Do not go underneath this occipital bone back here. After you take your temple to temple, the last measurement is your nape. I feel where my hairline starts and stops at the back of my neck, which is your nape area. Take the 0. And you have to feel for your hair. And as you can see, I am a 5. Start in here, stop here, 5. So you're going to take the 0 here and measure across. So now it's time to transfer your measurements. The first step in transferring your measurements is deciding which wig block to use. So because I am a 23.5, I am using a 23.5 wig block. If I was a 23, I use a 23. If I was a 23.3, I would use the 23.5 wig block. If you have any questions about what size wig block you should be using, feel free to comment below and I'll make sure I answer it for you. Now that we transferred the circumference just by grabbing the correct wig block, the next step is to transfer your front to nape measurement. But before you can transfer your front to nape measurement, you need to know where to start on your wig block. So an easy way is to take a tape measure, start at the 0 here, and you want to mark off at 9 inches up. And this is the 9 inches. Now, this is a beginner-friendly way. You do not have to mark at the 9. It's okay if I was at the 8.5 mark or the 9.5 mark, but we aren't going to get into that today. That'll come in a different lesson about deciding where to start your front to nape based on different measurements. This is a consistent way that yields good results. So for the sake of this video, beginner-friendly, we are starting at the 9. Now, once you have identified where to start your front to nape, you want to transfer your front to nape measurement. Now, remember, I took my measurement by measuring my head this way. So I'm going to take that measurement and apply it to the block. That's what I mean by transferring. So I'm going to start at the 0 here, and I am going to go directly back to the 16. And I've done this enough to know that my measurement transfer all the way down here. And yes, I am going to put my T-pin right here. After I've transferred my front to nape, I am going to transfer my nape. My nape is a 5. So to know where to start at here, I have to figure out what's half of 5. Half of 5 is 2.5. Let's say if my nape was a 4. Half of 4 is 2. Let's say if my nape was 4.5. I'm good in math, but I don't pretend when I'm making wigs. So I'm going to take the 0. I am going to fold at the 4.5. And that crease is going to tell me where to align underneath this pin here. And I will pin at the 0 and pin at the 4.5. But remember, I am a 5. So half of 5 is 2.5. So I will align the pin, not at the crease, but at the 2.5 mark. Once you have your tape measure underneath the pin, you want to take a T-pin, pin on top of the 0 and on top of the 5. Now I have transferred my nape measurements with both sides from the middle to my right being equal from my middle to my left. Now you take that same concept to transfer your temple to temple. My temple to temple is a 19. Half of 19 is 9.5. So I'm going to take another T-pin. Make sure you don't remove your nape pins. And I am going to pin in the flat back of my wig block. And I'm just placing this pin here to secure it so it doesn't shift. I'm going to turn it around. And I'm going to pin at the 19.5 mark. What you do to one side in wig making, you do to the other side. Come around. And I'm going to pin at the 0. Now, when I come here and check my measurements, I'm at a 0. I'm at the 9.5 is directly in the middle. And that is the 19.5. So when you look here, you don't want to try to decide, what did I do wrong? Trust the process. Sometimes it could just be the design of the wig block. It's even from the middle here, from the middle here. And hopefully your tape measure is accurate. But I know this tape measure is accurate. I've been made 100 wigs with it. So with that being said, I've transferred my measurements. You do not need this T-pin that was holding the tape measure on the wig block. So I'm going to remove it. And I'm going to remove these extra pins just for the sake of a visual. So now I have all of my measurements transferred. The circumference by deciding which wig block to use. My front to nape, my nape, and my temple to temple. And the next lesson is how to pin your cap.